up, everyone? This is SojuTalk, your weekly shot of K-pop. We're coming at you with a super spicy episode 236, and we're recording on Tuesday, May 16, 2023. I'm Doug, and joining me today, we got Warren.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And Anita.
Hello.
As a quick reminder, check out SojuTalk on your favorite podcast platform, sub to us on YouTube, and join the SojuTalk Discord and be a part of the nation. Okay, how do I say this? So we normally record on Mondays, but we are recording on a Tuesday because of reasons. Warren had something to do yesterday, so we are recording today, right?
It was my mom's birthday, so we went for dinner. I'm sorry.
Boom.
Happy
That's always a good
belated
excuse.
birthday.
Belated birthday to your mother. Also, it was Mother's Day on Sunday, so shout out to your mother.
Yes, shout out to the moms.
All right, big releases this week. We're covering one artist, but both of the songs. We're gonna cover G-I-DLE Allergy, which was the pre-release, and G-I-DLE Queencard. So obviously G-I-DLE's from Cube. Last three songs, New, Tomboy, and Hwa. So G-I-DLE had a historic 2022, right? I think we could all agree on that. Tomboy, Nude, very good. I would say they were Artist of the Year candidates with IVE. First release of 2023, Allergy and Queencard. Which one let's talk about Allergy first. It was the pre-release, right? This is a more rock influence than I had expected a G-I-DLE song to be, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
A little, but not completely surprised.
I'm still not sure. Do I prefer this to Queencard or not? I've been thinking about this.
I do.
You do?
Same.
I do.
Same.
Why?
Well, I'm a little biased towards the references to the Y2K vibes of 2000s. I like how they did it here. It had more of a rock pop sound to it. And I really like how they committed to that aesthetic in the music video. All of the outfits, the sets. I'm pretty sure they might have filmed outside of
It feels
Korea,
like
I'm not
California
sure.
to me. I don't know. That's what it felt
New
like.
York, but I don't
New
know.
York?
Somewhere maybe not in Korea, in the
Fair.
Western realm maybe. But I thought it was really cool how things were edited. Like that, what is it, like the rip-up effect they had, like the lettering.
Like the
I thought that was cool.
scrapbooking
The
effect.
scrapbook look, yes. Very, very committed to that aesthetic, and I thought that was nice. It added to the atmosphere of the song, I guess. Yeah, I think that's what I really enjoyed about it. And it also had a lot of storytelling throughout the whole song, lyrics-wise, but also like in the music video, which we could get into more. But I don't know, I think I appreciated it a little bit more because I think it was just setting up for Queencard. And
Yes,
I liked
definitely.
how things were set up. Yeah.
It was almost like the front and back of a same card, almost. In the way like Allergy plays into Queencard, which was what was kind of confusing for me in the album. Was like Queencard comes first, then Allergy, and I was like, that shouldn't be other way around. But I guess, I guess that's how they promoted it. So I'm just
Music video wise, canonically, it makes sense though, right? In this order.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
Right. Because Allergy came first. It was like the pre-release. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because in Allergy, they're setting up the context and the problems and what the character is going through. And a lot of it, I thought it was almost kind of ironic because like the messaging is like hyper focused, like 2023, right? TikTok, Instagram. I'm comparing myself to other people on social media. It's the sense of low self-esteem that comes with that. All of that is like it feels very hyper focused on this generation of people. Yet the aesthetic of everything, including the sound and the music video, is very much like early 2000s, mid 2000s, punk rock kind of thing. I mean, it's not really a complaint. It's more something that I thought was really interesting. And on the other side of it, this also has a very punk rocky sound. The Queencard also has a punk rocky sound. This feels a lot more cohesive and like committed to that one sound.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
It's because the song is like 2 minutes and like 40 seconds or something like that. I feel like it works a lot better here. At points, yes, it's a little more predictable, but at the same time, it's not like I'm getting sick of it kind of predictable. It's more like, okay, this all kind of makes sense together. It's a cohesive, short little track. It's a little short. I wish it was a little longer. Like this is one of those tracks that could be 4 minutes. But all in all, it felt like a 2000. What year is it? 2023 update of like Ugly by 21. If you guys know what that is.
Oh,
what that is.
Okay,
yeah.
that
Yeah.
does make sense. Yeah, the
can
whole
see that.
concept, like, you know, compare myself to everyone else. I don't like myself, but at the end, you kind of realize, I should just kind of like myself. I should kind of rock what I got. Although she doesn't, because she goes to a plastic surgery clinic. So
Well, that
leads into the Queencard.
right?
It leads into the Queencard,
Yes.
right?
Right,
But
right.
just this by
Right,
itself, right? It's kind of like, oh God, towards the end, right? Other things, so fun things Doug noticed, right? Number one, they did that trope, what they did with the early 2000s films, where like all the actors like look way too old for the roles they're playing. Like, the non G-Idol actors all look like they're in their 30s, you know? Like, there's something I noticed. I remember I was watching this, like, we watched the videos at my house. We were watching it, this one, right? And then that one scene where Yugi and Shua are standing there, and then the blonde girl walks through them, and my mom goes, "That girl looks really old." That's what my mom said.
Oh.
Oh man.
Relative to
that
them,
did happen.
relative to them. That's all I'll say. Well, okay. One thing I cannot
That's a little one.
overlook. There's two things I want to talk about. The first one, something Doug can't overlook. When what they say is supposed to be English lines, right?
It's in English.
It's in English. So it should translate 1-to-1 to the English subs, right? If they're singing this line is an English line. But the
That is
grammar
the
that
logic,
is
yeah.
sung is so bad, but they put the correct grammar in the subs.
Okay, see, when I re-listened, right? Because I thought like sound, like just the sound, I was like, I'm not hearing. I feel like I'm missing some connecting words here. And then I turned on the subtitles, and then I see those words in the subtitles. But I thought like, I'm just hearing it off. Like the pronunciation is a little off, but I guess maybe they took some liberties in the
Particularly like the why,
So-
it's supposed to be why ain't I pretty, why ain't I sexy, right? That is what is in the subs, but it comes out like,
Yeah.
why I'm sexy, no, why I'm pretty, why I'm sexy, right? That's what it comes out as.
I do want to note, like, if you look in the official lyrics that was released with the song, it does say what it says in the subs. So
Right.
if I were to stretch a little bit, the argument could be that G-Idol was trying to say that, like, sing that, and they took the creative liberty of skipping over I. But couldn't they have made a top line that fits the syllables that has the same meaning? Like, you could say, like,
No,
I'm not pretty.
I'm not pretty. I'm not
lovely.
exactly. That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
too. I don't
But they wanted
understand.
to ask. They wanted to ask why.
I don't understand. The other thing,
And if that's the case, they should have come up with a different top line. But yeah, go back
the
to
other thing, this is just me nitpicking, right? This is a higher level issue I have, right? So this song talks about like, oh, I hate like that I look at Instagram and I look at these other people, or I hate TikTok, that kind of thing, right? But it's like technically speaking, G-Idol are the type of people that the kids who actually have self-conscious problems are looking at, though. Because like all of these G-Idol kids have millions of followers on Instagram and are like they're saying like I hate TikTok, but yet they have all these TikToks already for the songs, you know? Like I
feel
don't know.
like, to be honest, I don't. I definitely see the issue with that, so I agree. But I feel like there's almost like a sense of having to suspend this belief, right? Because they're performing the song, they have this message, and I don't disagree with the message, but
Yeah, I don't disagree
outside
with the
of this
message at all.
song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me when Mion's trying to tell someone she ain't pretty, you know? I'm just like, come on.
Well, okay. I think something that was kind of alluded to in the storyline of Allergy is that no matter like the person that you're looking at, right? Like who are you're looking up to, who you think they have like a perfect life, really good looking, very popular. They are also looking at somebody else who they think is better looking, more popular than them.
That's true.
And I think that I can see that makes sense. That's true. That happens. But at the same time, yes, I understand also the perspective of it being a little difficult to
The way I'll
believe.
put it just came off 1% unrelatable to me. Not extremely, but I was just like
Just 1%.
I was just like,
I think it comes down to like how persuasive your message ends up being, like how like immersive it is at the end of the day. I'm willing to buy it a little bit because like Soyeon, we know that Soyeon herself has gone through those things, especially like pre-debut, like early on, stuff like that. So like, I'm not gonna say it comes out of nowhere, but it's also like that classic like hip hop musician problem, where like early on in the career you talk about success. Well, early on in your career, talk about your hardships. You know, you need to make it out of the troubles you're going through, and then later on when you're successful, you run out of things to talk about because the only thing you can talk about is money, success, and the cars you have and stuff like that. And building a message that makes sense out of that, I feel like that's what's really hard. And like at the end of the day, it comes down to how well that message is built for us to either buy it or not buy it. Here, I'm like willing to buy it, but like I'm still like stretching my mental gymnastics a little bit just so I can buy it actively, and that is a little bit.
That's how I was feeling too.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's enough talk about Allergy, right? I think we've discussed that. Let's move on to Queencard, but before I do that, so G-I-DLE, they surpassed 1.1 million pre-orders of their 6th mini album.
Wow.
I Feel. Million is like the new base number for the big groups now. Right?
All the girl group comebacks.
Oh yeah, all of them have hit a million. Le Seraphim, IVE, and now G-I-DLE. Million.
Everybody's a millionaire now.
If Rocket Punch comes back, Shut
up. Shut up. Get out of here. Dude, don't even mention. Don't even get me started.
You'd be happy to just get a comeback at this point.
Shut the fuck up.
To be fair. All right. Queencard. One thing that Anita said when we were pre-talking about this in our pre-show discussion, right, was she was like, this kind of sounds a lot like Tomboy, was one of the things Anita said.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me was the structure of it, like how it starts, how it comes in the chorus, and like some of the melodies I thought like, that's kind of reminds me of Tomboy a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The one thing that I really liked and that I thought like, I wish we could have hung to this difference, like this that I thought was setting it apart from Tomboy or like kind of shifting my perspective, was the pre-chorus. I really like the pre-chorus. I like how it I agree. Comes into like a more like happy kind of like, I don't know what the term would be, but like it kind of goes up in like feeling, I guess, and then we go back a little bit down.
I thought this one flowed or something. I thought it flowed better than Tomboy. Like it.
Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that.
It was way smoother, right? Like Tomboy was just like, "Oh, we doing this all of a sudden? Oh, we're just doing it out of nowhere."
I agree. Yes, it flowed a little better.
Especially the effing Tomboy. It just kind of happens, right? This one I think makes more sense as a song. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see why you would go there with the song. One thing I want to point out, I'm looking at the music video right now. Bro, the YouTube official account wrote like a really cringy message on this video.
What did they say?
They wrote, "Love the message at the end, heart. Embrace you. That's your Queencard."
Bro.
They're promoting.
YouTube Korea and YouTube official commented on this video.
Oh.
Good on them.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway from the song, though, right, is the lyrics again.
A little worse here.
Yes, 100%. I can't overlook, like, okay, I'm gonna say the line. My boob and booty is hot, right? That's a historic line. People are gonna remember that line forever. I'm surprised that she used the singular boob. Not like one boob is hot, other one cold, I don't like the other boob. There's one boob and her booty's hot, right? Apparently. And then she's gonna twerk on a runway as well, right?
That's what I thought was like, wow, okay, that's the line. That's the delivery. That's the
and then we had
twerk on the runway.
This was one of the first times in K-pop I could remember like such a overt name dropping segment too. Like where they mentioned Kim Kardashian, like the pronunciation was something on Kardashian, right? And then Ariana Grande literally name dropped them both on this song. I don't know. There was a lot going on.
I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, like they're Korean people. Let them do their pronunciation and wrong grammar in peace." But like, we learn English in school. I want to point that out.
They called her They called her like King
Right.
Kardashian, right? King Kardashian or something, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they have like English classes in China
and,
too.
and
like,
Yuki speaks like almost fluent English.
right. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't know. I felt like it was a little better analogy. This one leans harder into the complaints we had with Nude and Tomboy. If anything, I felt like it was arrangement wise. I thought it worked a little less as well. Unlike you guys, that whole bridge section that you mentioned, Anita, that had like almost like a doo-wop-y kind of arrangement to it.
Yes.
I felt it felt like it came out of nowhere and just went back to nowhere. It's just
maybe it came out of nowhere, but I preferred it. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Like I preferred that switch up.
I think there would have been genre choices that made sense for the rest of the song. Maintain the same kind of mood. Like you can portray that mood, sure, but you can use different arrangements, like different instruments and different genres and whatever. The same way at the I feel the same way at the end where like all the synths come in and it feels almost like one of those like Lady Gaga songs from like the late 2000s all of a sudden. I felt like it could have built into that a little more. And it goes back to having a song that's like 2 minutes and 40 seconds long. Is sure we can build a short song, but these transitions they gotta make better sense, or just not do them at all. Kind of similar to how Allergy was working, where it was a lot more consistent front to end. Because right now, I know that people describe K-pop as a genre where like all the different genres kind of mixed together, but this one, I don't know. Really just feel like we're just competing with each other. It feels like we're competing with aespa or like what's another one, like NMIX, in terms of like, ooh, look at us, here's this weird change up that we can do, like, you know what I mean? Like it feels like that's a weird competition we're having in K-pop right now that is just, I feel like it's completely unnecessary. But I do feel like the guitar
I'm gonna keep going. The guitars.
Yeah, no, I did feel like they felt more consistent with like early 2000s music, especially with like, I was getting like Jonas Brothers almost in the chorus.
Oh.
I don't know. I feel like you guys would know Jonas Brothers music more than I do.
I don't.
Okay, never mind.
I know SOS is them, right, Anita?
I really don't know.
It is. I'm right. It was Jonas Brothers released SOS at some point.
Okay, yes.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, but in general,
do you know 3000? Okay, never mind.
No, the SOS sounds like this, dude. Yeah, I'm onto something.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
It's in the same realm.
Okay.
Oh,
sorry, go back to you, Anita.
Oh yeah, Anita. What else you got?
What was I gonna say? Oh no, I wanted to talk about the music video too, because I think this music video, of course, is in the same world as Allergy. It continues the storyline, right? But I thought that there was some really, really cool directions here for like how you're supposed to feel like it's kind of like whimsical in a way. Like some shots that I thought were really interesting, like the dancing shots. I think it was Minnie dancing, and then it cuts to like surgeons in the operation room dancing.
Anita, yes, Minnie in the jazzercise outfit is my spirit animal into the shot of the Grey's Anatomy dance party. Bro, that was crazy, right?
I really like how they made it look like very, very out there. Where like
it was crazy.
It kind of comes full circle and makes sense because you realize that this was a dream.
It was
right?
It was unsettling, kind of like a horror, like a Jordan Peele horror movie when the doctors are dancing.
Get out.
Right? No, it gave me like horror movie vibes when the doctors are dancing.
It was a little, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it becomes Mian at the end.
Oh, I have a question about this music video. There are certain parts that are hard subbed.
Oh yes.
I was trying to figure out like what the significance. I think it's in both music videos. There's like certain like that part where Mian saying "I am a Queencard" is hard subbed in. There's a scene where they're lounging on the beach, and then one of the guys comes out and asks, "How many shots do you want?" That's hard subbed in, even though that's not even a lyric.
I think the subs were just like conversation, like discussion between characters in the music video world.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes
I was
overlap with the lyrics.
I was trying to figure out if there was something like crazier going on that I was trying to understand.
I think it was just to build the aesthetic of early 2000s movie. Because if you look at, oh no, I can't. You can't look at it. But like, if I look back on the movies or anime I used to watch, like that's the fun. That's the fun. Like white Arial with like black text around, black stroke around it.
There was also there was also a white girls-esque dance battle, right, Anita?
At the club. Yeah, the
yes,
dance battle.
That happened as well.
That was fun.
I'm thinking about it. I think I like this one more than Allergy. I think this one's fun. I don't like the lyrics. They make me cringe. I'm gonna be honest here, but I think I like this song better.
I mean, to be honest, music video wise, I think both songs do really, really well. I like how they're connected. I like that they're building a storyline here, the attention to detail, the outfits, the sets. I think editing, everything worked really well visually. I think musically, I prefer Allergy.
Let me check the eye charts. Yeah. Let me check the eye charts. That will give us an understanding of how Korea is going to rate this against their contemporaries.
General public.
So
it just launched, didn't it? So
I will go by the Melon Daily because it's been over 24 hours for this, right? So if it was number one, it'd be number one.
Okay.
On the daily. Melon number one daily is I Am still. Number 2 is Unforgiven, Le Seraphim. Number 3 is Kitsch. Number 4 is Ditto. No, is Spicy. Number 8 is Ditto. Songgugong is 6. Hype Boy is 10. Queencard is 7th on Melon at the moment. So it's doing well.
Okay. I mean, it just launched. People are interested because they're a successful group.
Yeah.
Whether it lasts is gonna be, gonna be a signifier of like how successful it is.
Yeah.
Oh, do you guys know where the title came from? Queencard. Do you guys know what that means?
I thought
English that translates.
I kind of looked it up, and all I got was like Queencard is like you want to be like you a bad bitch if you a Queencard. That's what I got, but I could be wrong.
Is this slang for something?
It's it's like Korean slang from like the early 2000s, where like you're like the most popular girl in class, or like if you're a king card, you're the most popular boy in class. It's like prom queen, prom king kind of deal.
I saw people in the English comments saying something like that in the 2000s. There was an English word sort of like that, but I had never heard of it before as well.
Yeah, that's a completely Korean slang. Like that's not like it's a very outdated Korean slang. As in like we used to use it in the 90s, early 2000s. This is about it.
Well, it's fitting, I guess, with the concept.
It's Y2K. Y2K.
So the weird thing, I'm gonna have to find it, but like people in the English comment section of Reddit saying there was also a term that it used to sound like in English as well, around the same time period. That's what this got me like interested in looking at. I'll look this up during one of our breaks and see if I can find it. But yeah, I saw that as well. I was like,
that makes a lot more sense. Because I was questioning like the use of the word specifically, right? Because it's all together, Queencard. But okay, that makes more sense.
That definitely makes more sense.
It's like when they say I'm a Queencard, it's like, oh, I'm the hottest bitch in this class,
You're the top.
I'm the top. I'm the top girl. That being said, I kind of, in comparison to Tomboy and Nude, I feel like I lean towards this one the most compared to Tomboy or Nude. The messaging, sure, I think there's some problems with it, but at the other end, I think it was really clever that they made this like 2-part narrative, because it really gave them a lot of room to like build on it and have this kind of like cause and effect kind of narrative. And because of that, I'm a lot more like, I don't know, I'm buying it a lot more compared to like Nude or like Tomboy, which were very shallow attempts at saying I'm a pretty person versus I love myself versus, stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're bad messages. I feel like because they had more room to explore it here, it feels a lot more developed. Sound-wise, I feel like it's it was a whole ass story, and like that's kind of what I like. That's kind of what I like. As far as I can tell, the rest of the album doesn't really build on that, which is a bit of a shame. But then again, I mean, I'm not expecting that to happen all the time. I don't know. Yeah. So maybe won't do as well as the other 2 tracks because all my who've heard the first who've heard I had a quick convo with a bunch of my Korean friends, and they were like, "Oh, like I like Allergy. I'm not sure about Queencard.
Oh, I'm dumb,
Oh,
Warren.
wait.
It's like Tomboy 2.0.
The article I found that says it sounded like a term in the early 2000s. The first word of that sentence is, it was a trendy slang in Korea in the early 2000s.
There you go.
Okay, never mind.
There you go.
Never mind. Okay, so I did read it correctly
What
then.
did I tell you?
Yeah, I did read it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Other releases. So there's this group here. I see how they even write it in Korean. It's like I-DLE?
Adia.
I-DLE? Okay.
I think it was Adaya, I think.
Adaya.
No, dude. If you look at the Korean, it's
look it
A-E-D-Ya.
Adia.
A-DLE.
Adaya.
Yeah.
Alright.
So they have a debut
Okay.
via Starting House with Purr. Fevers, which is the debut of the Girls Reverse Kakao group. So that's the VTuber group.
I did see this.
So it's called Chode. So those are like some of the your favorite idols who are doing VTuber characters right now, and they won that competition show. That's the song. I ain't gonna spoil who's in the group. Craxy released a mixtape song called No Limit. Super Junior Sungmin had a trot debut with Lovesick. It's actually kind of
Ooh.
fire.
I need to
Oh, wow.
check that out.
Yunha released Kaze. I-Chillin released Siren. Amers released Bubble. Baby Monster. So we're going to talk about in the news section a little, but they released a pre-debut song called Dream. So that came out
did
after the
see
final
this.
lineup was announced. The Wind had a debut via Around Us Entertainment called Island. And then Midnat had a debut via Hybe with Masquerade. So we were wondering,
did
what is
see
this
this.
Midnat, this AI majig, right? I found out what it is. AI technology was used to sing in 6 different languages. Midnat is the alter ego of the Hybe veteran Ihyun. He was like the first guy signed to the company back in the day.
Oh, wow.
He's still there.
Oh, wow.
If you watch Game Caterers with Hybe, he was the old dude that was hanging out with New West. So he's been at the company for like forever. He's a singer. So in a press release, Midnat sang the title track in 6 different languages, and the pronunciation data of native speakers was applied to the track to further refine the artist's pronunciation and intonation. Supertone was also used to create multiple artificial voices in the song, including that of a woman, which was based on Ihyun's voice.
Oh.
So it's not that they made an
wow.
AI singer; they're using AI to help with the song creation process.
Enhancement.
So he like tried to probably sing it in English
Wow.
phonetically, and then they use AI so his pronunciation is good.
Very interesting.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
It
I
kind
like
of
the
reminds
song.
so it kind of reminds me of those like AI singers online right now. Like you guys see like Bruno Mars cover of Hype Boy and stuff like that.
I really like it.
Yeah, no, those are good. That's the technology there is they take the original a cappella track and they model with the model of Bruno Mars's voice and characteristics, they like, cover that up. I'm assuming that's kind of what's happening here.
Something similar,
where they,
yeah.
So the
where
interesting
they
thing
took
is
Elon's
this is a very
phone.
rare. Where on the YouTube video you have audio tracks, 6 of them that you get to choose between.
Oh,
So you got
I didn't see
Vietnamese,
that.
Japanese, English, Spanish, Korean, and Chinese.
I need to
How do you
check
do
the
that?
Spanish.
You go to the settings thing where the subtitles is, and you could change the audio track. So you could listen to the song in Spanish if you want, Anita.
I need
Oh my
to
God.
check it out.
So that's what they did. They released the song in 6 different languages with the help of AI.
I will say I heard the song. I didn't know, like, I heard it and then I found out about the use of AI technology to
It
help
sounded
with
natural to
pronunciation.
me before I looked it
It
up.
sounded pretty natural. I will say, like, I thought there was some loss of like quality in the audio when they used it, but maybe I don't know. I thought the pronunciation was fine. I just thought like some of the quality of the audio was a little interesting, but I will definitely check out the other languages now.
You also have to respect your OGs. This was like the first guy signed to Hype. He was signed to Big Hit
Dang.
in 2005 as a trainee.
Ooh.
So he's like an original
20
OG.
years.
He was
This
in
is the
he
guy
was-
from 8.
Yeah, he was in 8, and he was also in that duo with 2AM's Changmin for a while. They sang together. Yeah, he was in that too. It's this guy.
He's a wonderful. He's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
This guy.
So yeah, he's been at Big Hit for the long haul. From what I read, he has a pretty high position at the company. You know, like he's been there for so long.
Good for him.
So I'm assuming he's
He's like
not-
he's like Kangta for
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I thought this was pretty cool. I like this because I felt like the pure AI singers were a little bit like hard to latch onto, you know, doesn't feel very personable. But using it to like enhance things, I'm okay with that. I think it helped for sure.
No, it feels like, you know how like people are like scared of like AI taking over jobs and like other people's like jobs and stuff like that. This is like this is good use of AI. That's what.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is like ethical use of AI, right? That's what it felt like. Yeah, because it's not like
a tool.
Still like an engineer how to use the AI to do whatever. It's like a tool. I kind of like it. It's like a tool assisted song, you know, essentially. All right, Spice King though. Last week, 17's Super picked up its third crown, entered the Hall of Spice and the class of 2023. It joined Ditto, OMG, and Anoya from New Jeans and Billy respectively. Second place was LE SSERAFIM's Unforgiven, which is sitting at 1 crown, right? And third place was aespa's Spicy. The new candidates are the 2 songs this week, G-Idle Allergy, G-Idle Queencard. Oh, I'm in a big debate here. Okay, third place is Queencard for me. Third place.
Third, okay.
Putting that one in third. I have been debating, do I like Spicy or do I like Unforgiven? That has been my debate this week because I've listened to both of them a ridiculous amount of time. I watched most of the stages of both songs. My decision at this point is I will put Spicy in first place this week. I don't know. Something about this Spicy song. I like it. I don't know. I'm vibing to it. I like all the fan cams. I've been having a great time. Something about Unforgiven to me leaves me a little bit unsatisfied, and I can't figure it out. I think it's the chorus, particularly. Just not a big fan of it. Anita, that's your cue.
Oh, well, this list was a little hard for me.
She might bottom in first, I'm assuming, right?
I wish. No, I can't do that. I can't. I will start in my number 2 spot.
Whoa, okay.
Number 2 spot, because I feel like I'm at odds at the end, like the top end and the bottom end. So number 2 spot, I have G-Idle's Allergy. I like the messaging they had. I think the sound and the aesthetic went better together in that particular song, music video and all. So that was my favorite of the 2 releases. So I'm going to put that in second place.
Is this a game time decision, Anita?
It is. Oh. And it's not going to be popular. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. What does that mean?
So in the third place, I still like Crystal Eyes. So I'm going to keep it in third.
Whoa.
I feel like nowadays I'm very swayed by the efforts in the music video, like the set design, the styling, the concepting. I understand that it's not a perfect debut and not a perfect song, but I am compelled by the aesthetic. So I am putting it in third. And in first place, I'm still listening a lot to Shung by Taeyang.
Oh my goodness, Anita.
Goodness. What is this chart?
I know, it's not popular.
What is this chart? Holy crap.
I apologize, but that is what I'm listening to.
Which one was first?
No need to apologize.
Was Crystallize in first or was Taeyang in first?
Taeyang first, G-Idle second, Allergy, and then third place, Crystallize.
God damn, Anita.
Man. Shung's gonna be one of those songs for you.
Take it away, Warren.
Well, Shung is not on my chart, nor is Crystallize.
Of course not. I didn't think so.
No. I mean, I think I'll get those 2 songs. It's been a while. Same with Unforgiven. It's been a while. I like the song. I just don't listen to it much anymore. I've had time with it. Every time it come up on my TikTok For You page, I'm not skipping it. Just I don't really listen to it much anymore, so it's not on my chart. Which leaves me with Spicy on 1.
Ooh,
it's a good song. I like it. Spicy. And then Allergy on 2nd and Queencard on 3rd. Easy peasy. I like Allergy more than Queencard for specific reasons. One thing I did notice about both of these tracks is like someone takes a bit of a backseat into like a regular member role.
That's
almost.
true.
Right, like with like Tomboy and Dude, it's very clear who the essential core person of this track of this of these comebacks were, and now that she's given, it feels like there's a lot more breathing room for other members as well, and it feels like members like Miyeon are like coming out a lot more because like they're really talented people too with very unique characteristics, and I like that. Good shit.
All right, I gotta I'm trying to calculate. Gochu Gang though. First place they gave to Le Seraphim Unforgiven with 48 points.
Woo.
Second place was Espa Spicy with 31. And then third place was I-DLE Allergy with 27. So that was their chart this week. No Queencard. Queencard had 22. So it did lose out.
Kind of close.
All right. As a result, we have an interesting chart this week, guys. In first place with 13 points, Espa Spicy.
Ooh.
Second place with
Look at that.
Second place with 8 points is Le Seraphim Unforgiven, so it will not be picking up
Makes
another
sense.
crown. And in third place this week with 7 points is I-DLE's Allergy. So that is the
Nice.
chart for this week. Finally, we're at show winner. Anita, hit us with them.
Yes, singular this time. And it's Le Seraphim with Unforgiven. They had a grand slam, so they won all the possible shows, I believe. The show champion, M Countdown, Music Bang, Show Music Core, and Inkigayo. Congrats to them. 6 total wins so far.
We're just on a Grand Slam streak right now, essentially. It's
All the girls,
crazy.
they're winning all the things.
Yeah, 6
Good for
there.
them.
Since we're gonna do something crazy at the end of the show, after the show, I just want to mention some things real quick. First of all, I watched the Game Caterers episode with 17 on it. So that is the Nayeon Sub YouTube channel show.
Oh, okay.
I like 17 a lot more now. I didn't know
Nice.
that Uzi literally wrote all of their stuff. I did not know that.
Yeah,
until
he's a producer,
Really?
songwriter.
He literally wrote everything,
person.
Martin, that you could think of from 17. He's wrote it.
He has demos
Yeah,
and all that.
That's what I've been telling you.
Oh, you have? I don't know. And his whole vibe that I got from him on the show was that being an idol is just a means to the end so you can produce more. That was the whole vibe I was getting, which is cool.
Good for him.
Also,
Yeah.
the what is it called? Jigu Orakshil? What is that called? What is the English name of that show?
Earth Arcade?
Earth Arcade
Pyongyang
Season
Earth
2
Arcade.
is back. That has An Jin on it. It has Mimi from OMG. It has Youngji on it. And it has a comedian on it. What's her name?
Unji.
Unji on it, right? Mimi hard carried episode 1. Like, I ain't gonna spoil it. Even if I say what happened, it's not as funny as what. Basically, Anita, they were doing a game. She had to end. She had to say 3 words that ended with dang, right? And dang is kind of the counter in Korea for like party or group, right? She ended up saying the 2 political parties in Korea, and she was really stumped until she said Communist Party, and it was so funny. It was even the PD, all the writers were on the floor dying when she said this. It was like one of the funniest things I've seen on TV. So you should definitely be watching that show. Right, Warren? It was
Nice.
horrendous.
Yeah,
what she
no.
was doing.
Dude, it was great. 민주당, 새누리당, 공산당.
Oh my god. All right, so that ends part 1. SojuTalk episode 236. We'll be back after a short break. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, SojuTalk Nation. This is Anita here with a quick PSA. If you would like to support SojuTalk Kpop Podcast, please like, subscribe, or follow us on whatever platform you're using. And consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/SojuTalk or donating to us at paypal.me/SojuTalk. On behalf of the crew and myself, thank you. Now back to our regularly scheduled episode.
All right, we are back at it with part 2 of SojuTalk episode 236, where we're going to cover some news and events from the past week. All right, the first one, as you can see on your screen, Baby Monster will make their debut as a 7-member girl group. No one was eliminated. So that is in reference to during the show, the entire way, probably about like a little bit into it, they said 5 members. There's only going to be 5 members. They kept teasing 5 members.
Oh, goodness
they even,
gracious.
on the beginning of the broadcast, this video, they had a poster up and there was 5 slots on the poster, right? So I'm not too familiar with the Baby Monster kids. I have not watched the series at all, but he was slowly putting one kid at a time onto the group. He's like, we need this member in the group. Yada, yada, yada. So he picked 5 of the kids, right? And then YG proceeds to explain why the other 2 girls didn't make it. So he was like shit talking them.
What?
Oh,
He was like, this girl's too young. We don't think she's ready yet. Yada, yada, yada. Like, we think she'll be better in the future for a future project. So he was like basically shit talking why this girl ain't in the group. So he does that. And then at the end, from under the desk, he pulls out a new sign. There's all of a sudden 7 slots now, and he puts it up.
Why?
oh my God.
And he's like, because
Giving
of
them
your
heart attacks.
overwhelming support for the group, no one will be eliminated. Think of the 2 final girls as the viewer's choice of this group.
Oh,
Yeah.
poor girls.
So I was okay. I ain't gonna lie. I was trolling in the YouTube live chat during this video because everyone wanted 7
What'd
girls
you
so
do?
badly. They were typing OT7. We need 7 members, right? The entire broadcast, I was typing OT5. 5
No.
members. 5 members. Let's go.
Oh. Okay, but honestly, I'm not surprised because this is not the first time YG has said like people who are eliminated will not debut. Like
I
this
mean,
is the end of the road.
Everyone
Like,
does
no.
this. To be fair, if we remember on 16, right? Nati kicked Momo's ass and Momo got eliminated and they added her in the finale, right? Like,
It's crazy.
it happened. All right, so the members are Ayun, who is from Korea. She is 15. Ruka from Japan. She is 20. Chiquita Banana. She is from Thailand. She is 13.
Just Chiquita.
13?
Haram. She is
Oh.
from Korea. She is 15. Farita. She is from Thailand. 17. Rora, Korea. 14. Asa, Japan. 16.
Oh,
Did they 13?
Let me confirm that. Let me
13?
confirm this.
Like the
That's what
numbers
the
of
poster
members
says.
in 17? 13?
Okay. I think she was 13 at the start of the broadcast because now she is 14. February 17th, 2009.
Dude, so much better. God.
Is
Yes.
it?
Oh my God.
Is it? I don't know if it is, but they're young. They're very
Being
young.
sarcastic, Nia. Not being for real.
Isn't it kind of crazy?
okay.
It's kind of crazy, right? Right?
Yeah.
There better be like a really good reason they've decided to put
Chiquita's
this
brother
13-year-old
is
on
a
this show.
singer in Thailand. Oh, I didn't. I just looked it up on the wiki
That's
page
good on
that I'm
them.
on.
Yeah.
But yep, that is Baby Monster. 7 members, girl group. Interesting.
Oh, best of
Here's the
luck.
thing.
I wish them the best.
There's no way they would just reveal like extra trainees without having a
Give them
reason
that
to
much
on
screen
the
time,
thing.
right? Before this.
Yeah,
There's
like,
no way.
like, are they trying to help their competitors? Like, no, come on, like that's not how this works. The moment they were on screen, they were like, okay, we're doing this.
So they released like a pre-debut song called Dream, right? Where it has a lot of the
I did
footage
see
from
that.
their training and stuff like that. It already was dropped.
Yeah.
And during the video,
Okay.
there's like other trainees in the training videos who have blurred faces. Video.
Oh.
Because I think there was pre-trainees to the Baby Monster YouTube series. Like it was like a mini competition to get on the competition. You know what I'm saying? Like
The actual competition, the real
Yeah,
deal,
yeah,
not
yeah.
the scripted TV show.
yeah.
Good lord.
So that happened.
They
there.
probably blurred their faces because that's a big deal in Korea right now. Where like if you don't have permission to be on screen, they blur everybody out. If you look at Korean vlogs, it'll make a lot more sense.
People
Yeah.
think this is gonna debut sometime relatively soon, maybe in the summer.
This year?
So it's gonna happen. Baby Monster's finally here after all this time. I think the pre-debut run of Blackpink was worse because we had like Jennie's photos for like 6 years straight, right? If I remember correctly. Everyone's saying this girl's so pretty, she's so talented, she's a monster, and it took us like 6 years to get Jennie. But yeah, Baby Monster, come on. Okay, this is some big news. SM Entertainment shared a statement that Lucas will be leaving both NCT and WayV to pursue individual endeavors following a deliberate discussion. So if you are not aware, about 2 years ago, I believe in 2021, right? I believe this happened. There were big allegations came out. Many people were accusing Lucas of doing some not favorable things. I heard some sexual assault, some gaslighting, a bunch of things like that. You could look it up online. There's many mega threads about this.
Yikes.
SM Entertainment acknowledged that there were these rumors about, and they were going to do an investigation. In the meantime, Lucas was going to be on hiatus. Since then, though, it's been pretty much radio silence, and everyone's like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
We literally heard nothing about it. Turns out that they made him leave NCT and WayV, but people are like, well, based on this statement, is he still in SM? And other people are wondering, is he still in Super M? Because he's also in that. So people are very confused. And as people say, like, regardless of if he did something bad or didn't do something bad, SM gave nothing. They gave nothing about what was going on.
No results behind this investigation they apparently went with. Yeah, I'm also confused. I haven't really done much research myself, but
people were shocked. Everyone said this was the worst result because there's like no closure and everyone's just confused.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, there's no closure because he's still a part of Super M, right? So there's no closure.
I mean, we don't know.
They haven't explicitly said anything, so it's possible. But so, I don't know. It's weird.
And from what I read, people said he's pretty screwed to try to go to China too because a lot of the accusers were in China. Like so.
Oh
yeah,
it was from like Weibo accounts and stuff like that.
And stuff. Yeah.
See, that's why he's still in Super M because he needs to go to America. That's what it is.
Oh my god,
it's so messed up.
I don't know.
Next one though,
it's so messed up.
SM released some fun things though. Okay, so in the third quarter, right? So this is in the fall. We're already preparing for fall. SHINee 8th full album. Well, it's not even just the fall. It's in the summer too. SHINee 8th full album in May, Anita. That's happening.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Taeyong solo in June. So that is upcoming. Yuno, third mini album. EXO, 7th full album. NCT Dream, third full album. Wendy, Onyu, Ki, Taeyeon, Dio solo album. And 2 new groups.
Huh? 2 new groups.
Okay. Wow.
We don't know if that means new. Well, NCT said they're not adding new kids, right? And they kind of stopped the subunits, right? They said as well. So I don't know what that means. Maybe it's out of the. I don't know.
I think they might do a subunit.
How confident are we with this information? Like,
this is a pretty reputable rumor, this is a pretty reputable news one that we use up pretty often.
Interesting. 2 new groups.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will have to.
It's gonna be NCT 2.0 and then NCT 3.0.
Maybe
and it's gonna be Novice.
Next one.
Novice.
Maybe.
Vivi and Hyunjin from Luna got out of their BlackBerry creative contracts. So let's go.
Congratulations to them.
They fully got out of the contracts.
Big win.
So now Heejin, Kim Lip, Jinsol, Chetty, and now Vivi and Hyunjin are out of contract, while Hasul, Yeonjun, Eve, Gowon, and Olivia Hae are still in lawsuits with BlackBerry Creative. But the weird thing is, there was some news about Eve. I don't know if I have it in my notes where she's gonna be like a creative director for some like smaller girl group somewhere. While this is all going on.
A creative director. Wow.
Yeah. So if you remember Dreamcatcher, one of their creative director was a girl who was on Produce season 1. So something like that, where she's gonna, choreograph the dance, do the stage setting, things like that. So I don't know in what capacity that is.
She would like to go.
I also saw Eve in a Cheon TikTok because they are friends. So I also saw her there.
Nice.
Next one, Queendom Puzzle. We have a date, June 13th, with Taeyeon as MC. They've been also like acting a fool, where they dropped like these crossword puzzle pictures for Queendom, and there are so many red herrings of names in this thing. Like, let me see if it's on the main Mnet page real quick, guys. Bear with me for a second.
I think I saw it floating around on Reddit.
Oh yeah, here it is. Look,
there we go.
They dropped these crossword puzzles, but you could find like anyone's name in this. It's ridiculous. There's the people found like Somi. They found like Mashiro is right here. Like, there's no way Mashiro's on this show. Like, yeah. So I don't know. They're like, on all of the confirmed kids were found in this, right? So I don't really know, but. Yeah, so people were just like, well, there's like 5,000 girls' names in this crossword puzzle. How are we supposed to even know who else is on the show?
On the second puzzle, third row down, it says India. The entire country of India confirmed for Queendom puzzle.
Yeah, so that also happened. Next one, 50/50, Cupid. It is now 19 on the Billboard Hot 100 this past week.
Wow.
Sources think it's going to go higher this coming week.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
Same.
It just keeps going.
They're playing it on my like local radio stations. Like they literally
I hear it all the time, yeah.
So
Same.
It's
Same.
absolutely incredible. Next one. This is from New York Times Books. So K-pop stars BTS will release a book telling their own story in July. The announcement by the US publisher Flatiron Books came after days of frantic speculation by fervent fans. People actually guessed it was going to be a book from what I saw. So there's going to be a BTS book. I'm sure it's going to be a New York Times bestseller. I'm willing to bet money on it that it's going to sell a ton of books. So that is good for BTS. They're going to write a book next.
It's the new Bible.
So Seoul Sports shared that Woolim CEO Lee Jong-yup, he did transfer the Infinite trademarks and other rights over to the group without any conditions or cost. So the rights were transferred over to Sungyu on April 21st as part of a birthday gift.
Oh my god.
So this CEO at Woolim was like, guys, you made Woolim so much money. We had a great run, but our time together is apart. As a birthday present, here is all the trademarks. You guys do with it what you want.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's pretty cool, right?
What
yeah, that's awesome. So people are speculating that Infinite's going to have a comeback somewhat soon.
Yes.
Next one, though. U-Kiss announced a group comeback with 6 members happening in June as the group's 15th anniversary comeback project. So as the project Hoon and Soohyun to release solo digital singles this month in May. So 3 of the dudes were announced already, and there's going to be 3 more of the U-Kiss members will be in this.
Wow.
Interesting.
It's the time of comebacks.
So they are coming back with a Japanese concert, as you could see in this image, because they were popular in Japan at the time U-Kiss was. So they're going to do something. Pretty crazy. Next one. So this dropped today. You remember we talked about the Isungi act where they were going to limit the amount of minors, the amount of hours they can work and stuff?
Oh,
well,
yes.
Pretty much all the major associations of the K-pop industry, have lobbed objections to this law, right? So
what?
The Korean Entertainment Producers Association, Korean Entertainment Management Association, Recording Industry Association of Korea, Recording Label Industry Association of Korea, and the Korean Music Content Association all kind of said, this is BS. We don't like this. And they're saying, it ignores the reality of minors in the workplace and it would prevent them from performing normally. Yeah, and they are requesting that the age limit clause regarding the time constraints be amended.
This is frustrating.
Their argument was, well, students stay up late and they study real late. That was their big argument.
Not healthy though.
Just because they have a problem doesn't mean you want one too.
Yeah, that was their main counter argument, was that students stay up late and study for really long hours. Why can't they dance for long hours?
That's not
That's
logical.
an issue. I was there. It was not pleasing. It was very unpleasant.
And it's kind of crazy. Yeah, so all the major parts of the K-pop industry are fighting this law.
I mean, honestly, I'm disappointed but not surprised seeing how the trend of younger and younger people debuting. But
if it hurts the bottom line, they're gonna protest it. To be honest, so it's what it is.
It's sad.
So right here, so this is another one sort of similar to the thing with Eve. Is Lee Hae-in. If you remember her from Produce Season 1, she was also on Idol School, right, back in the day. So she's going to be the creative director of S2 Entertainment, which was her original agency when she was on Produce 101. She's been there the whole time. She's going to be the creative director of their new girl group Kiss of Life, which also has Natty in it.
Oh
wow.
Oh.
So Haein, I'm a fan of her. I've been following her Instagram for since Produced, dude. Like I'm a long time fan.
Aw.
She's been doing acting here and there, but nothing too significant. So good for her. She's She's the one who had the big problems with Idol School. You remember? She was the one who had the big complaints back in the day about how it was unethical and all that stuff.
She was saying the truth.
What? She was on the documentary.
Yes, that's
She
her.
was the girl who did the interview. Okay, now
That's her.
I remember now. Yeah, that's her. Okay. Well, good on her.
Yeah, so that is happening there. Let me look at something real quick. I just want to confirm the thing I saw about Eve being a creative director because I might have just made it up.
Spreading fake news again.
Let me see.
We gotta check our sources real quick.
Fake news. Eve.
Oh, yo, no.
Not seeing
Eve was
anything on
listed. Okay,
the-
not creative director. She was listed at a producer at Team 9.
Producer. Okay.
And I could back that up because on
At Team 9.
and the 9 music _9 Instagram page, her handle is in their bio.
Okay.
So that is there.
Producer now.
She's a
Next-
part of a producer team.
Okay, so maybe not creative director, so I might have made that up a little bit. Next one. Top Media shared a statement that Teen Top will be reorganized as 4 members. You remember we said they were going to come back? So Cap, he left the group while apologizing for his behavior. Yeah, so the TOP Media apologized and he apologized for his own actions. Okay, if I had to explain it, he's been pretty problematic as a member in general. He made he made sexist comments in the past, so people didn't really like him in general. And then recently he had a live stream where he was kind of like, you guys come here and talk shit and you're not even my fans anyway. Like he was pretty drunk when he was saying this stuff. So
Oh, no.
Not a great look. Yeah, he was kind of ranting on the live stream.
That's
So he's out of there.
sad.
So Teen Top is down to 4 dudes who are going to make the comeback.
Dang.
Next one, Sublime confirmed that IOI and Priston's Im Na-young will be leaving the agency following contract expiration. The decision comes after discussions and a mutual decision. So, Stone Na-young here has she's been screwed over so much in her career, right? Like this has been rough. So she was in IOI, which went fine. She was in Priston. She was the leader of the group, if I remember correctly. Priston folded. She joined Sublime to be an actress. They didn't get her too many good roles, so it was good at the beginning, and then people said it just got worse over time. So she's leaving. So we'll have to see what happens next for her. Finally, Victon's Byungchan signed an exclusive contract with New Way Company. So I believe this is for acting. So he is now going to be an actor. And that is the news for this week. Next week, let me find my script. In terms of the music, their song already came out today, but we're going to cover it next week. Miju from Lovely's solo debut. I saw the preview because she was on Doremi Market. Seemed kind of fun. Unite, ATBO, Monsta X's Ju Honey has a solo debut, and Enhypen. So those are coming back in the coming week. All right. After the break, what are we doing, Warren?
We will be talking about whether Generation 5 has begun or not. This was from a question in the Discord. So if you have questions that you want us to cover, guys, come leave them in the Discord. But for now, we're going to talk about generations.
So it's
K-pop.
a big K-pop topic. K-pop generations. People love to speculate what the generations are or try to place people in the group. We're not going to really do that too much, but we're going to talk about if we're in a Generation 5 because people are very curious about that these days. So we will do that after the break.
Yo.
3, 2, 1, boop.
Special shoutouts to our Fiesta patrons: Bagel, Based, Mina, Brian, Shadow, Delmonic, Ellie, Irvtron, Flaco Louie, Genki Boy, Ogumama, Honey Pool, Jacob, Liam's Games and Toys, Luke Daniels, NJ Park, Tier. Thank you for joining SojuTalk, the weekly shot of K-pop. And Special thanks to our Discord server mods, Jacob, K Music Erday, Koala, Max, No Bias Luna, Tuggles, and Wolf297.
All right, we are in the after hours. What are we doing, Warren?
We are covering one of the questions that was asked to us in Discord. Anita, why don't you read us the question?
Sure thing. This was submitted by Doha on the Discord. And they say, if it's something y'all are interested in, would y'all discuss whether 5th gen has started yet or not? What people think and what criteria you believe need to be hit for a new generation to start? I think it would be an interesting topic for the after show.
Yeah.
That is truly an interesting topic. Not gonna lie.
I remember like back when around like it was right around when Espo was debuting, people were starting to ask whether we're in the 4th generation or not. Like Stacy was around, like that was the whole conversation we were having. We need to update that, don't we? It's been a minute because like back then the conversation was whether 4th gen has started or not. Now the question is whether the 5th gen has started or not. So I guess do we all agree 4th gen is we probably all agree.
We're in the thick of 4th gen, right? I would think.
So Doug put together this huge timeline of major groups that debuted.
Data.
Good Lord. And we grouped that by generations here. So I guess if we're talking about 4th gen, this is the whole group we're in right now. From S9 debuted in 2017, not 2019. Sorry, 2007. What is going on here? When did From S9 debut? 2019 or something like that? 2018? 2017?
You just asked me this off the top of my head, dude.
I can't name it off the top of my head, but around that time.
Around then. Espa is like one of the major players.
2017.
2017. Okay, so that was not a typo.
Or 2018 was the debut? Debut was 18. You're 18.
Okay. From S9, TXT.
Before we get there, though, I want to before you even do this, I want to make some caveats and some warnings. This is a rough chart. This is not the definitive generations, right? Even me and Warren don't agree about where half of these people are placed in this.
There's discourse amongst ourselves.
Yeah. We don't agree. We have different criteria. This is just a rough estimate. Additionally, with Hype, right? I want to make a disclaimer about Hype. Hype has now acquired, well, they were a big hit. They acquired Pledis, Source, KOZ, right? And some other things, right? What we are doing on this chart so that it's easier is Pledis' history is now considered Hype's history. So for instance, Pledis debuted the soloist Sondambi back in 2007. She is going to be listed in the Hype column or the Hype row because Pledis is now Hype. Therefore, we are considering Pledis' history as Hype's history. Same thing with Source. So I know Gfriend, I know people are angry because Hype got rid of Gfriend technically, but Gfriend is listed under the Hype row for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to say that.
And I feel like it's a lot better to look at it that way because if you think about the way Hype works right now with like Le Seraphim, like that's technically under Source music. That's not big hit. So it's better off to look at it that way, I think, in my head. I don't know, Doug. You put this together. What are your overall thoughts with generations in K-pop?
Okay, my thoughts about this in general. Let me pull up some of my source. I'm not gonna bring it on the screen, but I have source material which will help me make a good argument. I should have done this before we started recording, but give me 1 second to pull up my source material. Okay, there are some things that I think are contentious, right?
Right.
2003. Do you consider Dongbang Shingi Generation 1, 1.5, or 2? TVXQ. Because
I've always considered... okay, go ahead.
If you do not consider them Gen 2, then Gen 2 starts in 2005 with Super Junior, The Grace, and SS 501. If you include TVXQ, though, it starts in 2003, around then.
Correct. Yeah.
That's the first thing. But everyone considers TVXQ like a 1.5. So the overarching thing about that is people want 0.5s, right? Because it's way easier to make a transition. You don't have to definitively make a decision. But at the same time, it's very difficult to delineate what's a 0.5 and what's not, right?
I think one of the arguments for 0.5 I think one of the arguments for 0.5s is because a lot of the big three groups, excluding Hype, JYP, SMYG, they debuted groups around the same time a lot. Like if you think about GOT7, NCT, and like Winner, they all kind of happened at the same time, and that would all be characteristics of like Gen 3 or versus 3.5. But like TVXQ, I don't know. To me, in my head, they've been like figureheads of Gen 2 in my head. I mean, Anita, you're the TVXQ fan here, so maybe you can elaborate.
It's a 1.5,
I agree as well, because
right? Is it 1.5? I don't know.
I mean, I guess I also don't think much in terms of half generations, to be honest. But I can see the argument for, when in this case, I've always considered them in Gen 2 because
Me too.
a lot of the sound, like the concepting, everything that was going on with them as a group felt very different than what was going on with HOT, who were like the seniors, right, in the company before them. So I feel like, or Shinhwa too, I feel like there was a certain difference between them and TVXQ that I thought like, yeah, this is a new era, and they were like the first in there.
Other things that are contentious is Warren told me Korean people consider there to be a Gen 0 and a Gen 1, where on the West we generally don't do that, from what I can see.
Oh, Gen 0
on the source material.
Yeah, so when I was first visualizing the chart, there was a Gen 0 in here on the left of Gen 1, which to me that would be Suttage and the Boys, Fire Truck.
You're talking about the real old people.
So like not even like pop, like K-pop proper, but like
westernized Korean music, essentially.
Actually, yeah, like groups like Rura might be there too. Like a lot of the groups
Park Sung-eun
that were
maybe.
Oh yeah, her too, right?
Right? Yeah,
like
she would technically be in there.
I saw Generation Zero as like groups that didn't have like dedicated fandom activities, but had stuff like choreo to dances. There were multiple people in the group doing like they rapped.
Coordination
oh my goodness, they know the rap. Oh my goodness, you know what I mean? Which was to me that was a big shift in like popular music in K-pop. And the reason I would call them Gen 0 instead of 1 is because they are very different from like what we consider K-pop groups and idols and whatnot. And like
for sure,
I'm kind of okay with excluding them here because like
I agree, because in terms of what general K-pop fans find relevant, it's like Dongbang Shingi onwards, typically speaking, right, is what is super relevant. Other than a couple soloists who have remained relevant, like Boa, right, or Rain maybe. Typically speaking, people, or Psy obviously, people like to look at like Dongbang Shingi 2003-ish onwards is what is actually like most people care about, right? At least on the Western side. So that's the contention between Gen 1 and 2. Then obviously Gen 2 and 3, there's more contention, right? So that's the next big stopping off point. That is about 2012 is the year that I highlight in my head as when I don't know where to put some people, right? Like people debate, is EXO end of 2, first 1 and 3, right? But if you also think Newest was in 2012, but they got popular in the second half of their career, so they're probably Gen 3, right? And then also like EXID was 2012, and I would say a lot of people, or like AOA, people would kind of put them in Gen 2. B2B, BAP, they're probably in Gen 3, so that's a very contentious year, 2012, right? Where people aren't really sure where to put these people. Because
I feel like I was gonna say that talking about like year specifically, I can think of some boy groups, which is I think I was more familiar of them at the time, that came a little before that, 2012, that I considered Gen 3. Infinite is one that comes to mind.
Block B, B1A4, Teen Top.
Yeah, like they're not Gen
Blue.
2. Yeah. They're more Gen 3 in my mind, just because.
Really, Anita.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you want to
elaborate?
Well, Anita, you could elaborate after I do. The way I look at it is I look at who were the figureheads of each generation, and was this group competing against them? That's how I think of it.
I see.
So for me, Gen 2, were you versing Big Bang if you were a boy group? Were you versing Girls' Generation Super Junior if you were a guy group?
I see.
You know, if you look at it that way, I feel like this grouping kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I can definitely tell there was a time when Infinite and Teen Top were trying to compete against Big Bang. Or like, there was a lot of talk about, you know, Block B, potentially plagiarizing Big Bang and stuff like that.
The way I'll say it, Anita, I don't think Teen Top was ever versing BTS for Gen 3.
I feel like, it was the thing with BTS is that it's so interesting because they hit it off. Like their popularity rose a little later, like a couple years after debut, that it almost felt like they were competing with more newer groups, right, in popularity. I guess the reason why I think of Infinite as being in the third generation was because I guess I didn't see them as competing with like the bigger like Super Junior, Big Bang, TVXQ. Like they felt like a whole different space, I guess, like fandom in a way. I didn't think they overlapped too much in music either. But I mean, I see the argument for second as well.
I think if I think about a lot of groups in the 2000s generation, or I guess in generation 2, there's a big trend in terms of like electro pop and like the way autotune was employed, or like hook songs, you know, repetitive choruses that are meant to, you know, be very earwormy.
But I guess. Sorry, I was gonna say for Generation 2, seeing that grouping, I guess even within generations, I also think of a timeline within it where like you have people that started like a little bit earlier and then later, and I guess maybe that's why some people argue for the half generations to consolidate for those that come at the later end of a generation, like in between proper definitive generations.
I'm gonna make a hot take. People who advocate half generations are cowards, and they just don't want to put someone in a group.
I wouldn't call them cowards.
No, they're cowards.
Really?
Put them in somewhere.
Calling out Anita in the middle of the show.
I'm not calling her a coward. No, Anita, I get what you're saying, that there's a storyline within Generation 2, but you gotta remember that if we're going by some of the dates I'm suggesting, you go from TVXQ 2003 all the way to 2012. There's a 9-year span in there, right? So
it's a very long period.
Gen 2 had ridiculous lasting power, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I guess that's what Gen 2 is very weird because it did last very long.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what's confusing me, where I also felt like, for me as a listener, I also felt like I came in at the late end of Gen 2, and I felt like a sort of distance from the beginning of Gen 2, where I feel like, oh yeah, this is very different. Like this is not the same, in my opinion, but I can see where it's a grouping.
In my personal perspective, there was a time when I was, in the first half of Gen 2, I was very invested in K-pop. And the second half of Gen 2, I was very not invested in K-pop. And when I was coming back, because you two drew me into it,
twice.
A lot of
it's
it...
twice.
Well, twice was when Gen 3 was right, they were starting to begin, and remember when like we used to hang out at Doug's basement? You guys would show me like 4-minute music videos, Tiara music videos, like straight up like what else? Like Girls' Day music videos.
Yeah, Girls' Day. Woo! Sorry.
And I was like, the whole time I was like, these are the same groups that I used to like 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Because the staying power was
your music.
Because the staying power was ridiculous, right?
And that's why I see like this as like one cohesive kind of group. Although you might disagree.
Yeah, I got into the game in like 2008 or 9-ish, I would say. So that's like around the debut of SHINee. So like for me, if I'm thinking about those types of groups, right? It's like they're all kind of grouped together. I feel like the real the difference is when BTS started to pop off and when Twice debuted, which is around the same time. Like 2014-15, right? So even based on my chart, if I'm considering EXO Generation 3, right? If I'm considering EXO Generation 3, they debuted 2012. So the pop off of Generation 3 didn't even happen for like 3-4 years at that point. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. This is
took
one
a
of the
while.
issues.
Yeah.
This is one of the issues I have with like grouping generations by debut years, because like
Exactly.
it
Takes forever for it to actually start off.
Right. And I feel like one of the things I said previously when you talked about generations is that I see each generation having like a big industry shift.
Yeah.
The way marketing changes, the way people do things changes.
Platforms.
More than a date, right? More than a date.
Right. That's the way I see it. Like between generation 3, it felt like one of the biggest shifts was the groups were talking to fans way more. Like BTS was one of the groups that like really spearheaded this.
And like
EXO was
V-Live.
also a group that really
V-Live.
focused on. Right. Everybody was doing V-Lives. Nobody in Gen 2 did this. You know what I mean?
Not really.
That is the
Yeah.
difference, yeah.
Definitely.
And like by the time we got to 2015, when Gen 3 was like really kicking off, everybody was starting to get into it. They were getting their V-Live pages.
They were doing KCON all of a sudden, right? Like
Right,
they were
right.
like, oh my god, Twice is coming to the US, you know, like things like that.
It felt like one of the here's the thing, right? If here's another way to look at it. Generation was like K-pop just in Korea, right?
Yeah.
Generation 2 was K-pop leaking out into Asia
The
and like
Kore-
other countries.
The Korean American and Korea boos were starting to listen to K-pop in like 2007, dude. Like
Right.
Yeah.
They were starting to pick it up. Generation 3 is full on globalization, and Generation 4 is where we're at right now,
or it's
where like
mainstream.
we're just
It's mainstream.
it feels like K-pop isn't a Korean thing anymore almost, you know what I mean?
It's everywhere now.
Right.
The final gap is obviously between 3 and 4, right? I know we don't like dates too much, but the date people throw out is like somewhere between 2017, 2018, with like Stray Kids
That makes
debuting, Luna, AT's Eyes One, but Eyes One is kind of in between. And then the big debate I see is people talking about G-Idle. Some people put them in 3, some people will put them in 4. I don't really know where you would put them, to be honest with you, because people say G-Idle feels more like competing against the tail end of Twice's era around this time versus them competing against like aespa straight up.
Well, it's a mix, I think, now.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a mix.
I do think there was also a really big shift in marketing from Generation 3 to Generation 4. Because if you look at a lot of these groups, right? TXT, Le Seraphim, and Hypen, New Jeans, what else? aespa, all of these groups, AT, Luna, they all have like big narratives, like world building. Like everybody was
Lore.
suddenly
Yeah.
into like building a lot of lore. Like Billy's another big one. I'm not saying everybody did it, right? Like Cherry Bullet and Rocket Punch definitely didn't have lore per se, but like there was a lot of big shifts in the generation where like it almost felt like there was a bit of a hurdle to like start liking these groups. Like once you started liking aespa, there was a lot of like information that you had to like
oh
consume.
my god, you remember that time I tried to watch all of the Luna short things in like a week? Oh my god, that was a big investment.
It's a lot.
That was when I was,
it's a lot.
that was
Content.
I had Genshin Impact on one screen, Luna on the other screen at the time. Oh my god, it was a mess. One other point that I think kind of speaks to what Anita likes to say is that I think one other way you could group people by generations is when was the peak, or what the perceived peak
Yeah.
was. Because
Right.
that would then you're able to justify putting Brave Girls into Gen 4 because their peak was in the middle of Gen 4. You know? Something like that.
That's true.
Because I know Brave
Going
Girls.
viral.
I know Brave Girls is the exception. Or like G-Idle has really hit it off recently, in the
Yeah.
last year or so. That's in the thick of what we would consider Gen 4. You know, not based on when they debuted. That's an interesting argument to be made, I think.
See, that's always interesting to me because like Blackpink is like at an all-time high right now. They're still doing wild, but at the same time, it really doesn't feel like Twice and Red
Or
Velvet are
instead
competing
of
with them
saying
anymore.
peak, it's when did it pop off? Is the better way to put it. Like
Pop off.
when
yeah.
did it first go like boom? With Blackpink, it popped off at the debut. You know, it was popping.
Right.
I know that they're way higher than they were at the debut, but like for Twice, it was like the second comeback, you know, because Uahage was kind of fun, right? But when like TT and Churup happened, that's when Twice really got the ball rolling, you know?
Really?
Yeah. Uahage was not like the biggest thing. It didn't win any music shows.
I still feel like Twice's biggest hit was like Cheer Up though.
No, that's
It
what I'm saying.
was.
That's
Yeah.
what I literally said. I said Cheer Up and
That was
TT
the pop-off.
the pop off.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I somehow heard fancy.
No, dude, hell no.
How did you hear fancy?
And for like a BTS, like sure, some of the older stuff had a lot of fans, but for the general like K-pop fans, it was Blood, Sweat, and Tears was when it really hit. Like it went
That
nuts.
was that was. I remember that a lot.
You know,
Yeah.
so like so you gotta think about that because like yeah, BTS debuted in 2013, but they have that underdog story till Blood, Sweat, and Tears really starts to pop off everything. You know, so you gotta think of it like that maybe.
See, this is why I have a problem with like giving clear cut
Exactly.
groupings between generations, and you know what I mean. Like it really comes down to a case by case basis and how you like subjectively view when they were popular.
What's your criteria?
Who they compete with.
Do you put it on debut date? Who they were competing with? When did it start to get successful? Right? Like
Changes in like
See, I see
mediums,
it.
platforms,
Yeah.
trends.
Yeah. I've always viewed it as like how you're conforming with the industry norms. And like if I think about BTS, where they literally introduced so much of the marketing norms of Generation 3, that's a Generation 3 right there. That should be your textbook Generation 3 folks.
yeah. So
They're the ones that
okay.
started talking to
I think that's our discussion about like how to place people. It's messy. There's no good way to do it. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
I think that's fairly certain.
the chart that is on here, we'll put it on our social media if you want to look at it later. But y'all want to talk about Gen 4 and Gen 5 then? Are we there yet?
Okay, so the
Tell me,
argument
Mama.
that Doa was asking, are we in Gen 5, right? Because certain people, like I believe Zero Base One, which was from Boys Planet, and Baby Monster, which is from YG, are somewhat trying to like people are asking with these groups, is this Gen 5? I've seen other people saying, New Jeans popped off. That's Gen 5, right? I've seen that argument being made. I've seen people saying like it's like the new Jeans, or maybe it's Baby Monster and Zero Base One. Are we in a new generation? That's the current thing people are asking.
Okay. Okay, real quick. Are we there yet?
No.
I feel
agree,
like not yet, but we're at the tail end of Gen 4, I want to say. I think things will change quickly, soon.
We're at the tail end of it. Why do you think that
Yeah.
is the case, Anita?
I agree, Anita.
I mean, honestly, when we throw names like New Jeans, right? I feel like I do agree in the sense that when groups start going in a different direction, right? Like a shift in a trend, in like methods of distribution, marketing, concepting, whatever you want to call it. That's when I feel like, okay, yeah, this could be a change in generation. I feel like New Jeans is kind of signaling to that. I think they've been very successful because they haven't done a lot of the stuff that we would expect from a group, maybe. And it has worked, and people like it, and they're doing really, really well. So I feel like if we see that there's more of a change, maybe, I think we have seen like some signaling to it in like sound wise, but overall, I feel like it's still business as usual. I don't really think it's been a huge impact in the industry. It could be in a couple years. I just don't feel like it feels that way yet.
I have a guess, right?
Okay.
My guess is Generation 5 will start. Well, first thing of all, what I have to lead into this is NCT is probably a group that you could justify is within 3 and 4 because there's so many groups nested within NCT, right? That's my argument.
That's true. Yeah, units and all.
My argument is that we are in the girl group era, right? You remember this girl group
course.
popularity
Yes,
right
yes.
now. My feeling is that Generation 5 will start when all of the major companies all debut boy groups that are very successful. Particularly when SM drops the next project after NCT.
After NCT.
Their big adventure after.
Oh, that would make sense because it would have to be different. Hopefully,
Yeah.
ideally.
And I think it would be very different than NCT and it would mark some kind of shift.
I'm not
Or
sure if I fully agree with that though.
maybe it's these these Western collab groups we're gonna get soon. You remember, like JYP in America, all these groups.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay, that could be one. That could actually be one. Like actually having a group comprised of like non-Korean members completely. Like there's a lot of groups nowadays that label themselves as K-pop, even though they are very detached from what we think of K-pop is. Bombing Tiger is one of them. They call themselves alternative K-pop. There's also a group called OK-pop out there.
I have heard of them.
Are they good? I don't know. I
haven't heard the music, but I know who they are. Yes.
Right. There's also XG, who claim they're not K-pop, but everything they do is like
Similar.
a K-pop group, right? That could be one of the signifiers of Generation 5 like kicking off, because up until this point, we've had groups that are like partially not Korean people, like partially Thai, partially Chinese, partially Japanese. But if we're launching K-pop style groups that are like completely not K-pop, that's Korean. That's I feel like that might be a big thing, and that's also a big reaction to like the way Korean society is changing, right? If you think about the reasons boy groups haven't been super successful in the last couple of years, people have been tying it with people have been correlating it with the population struggles of Korea, where there's a huge drop off right now in terms of the literal amounts of people in the country, like
Birth rate.
Right. If you go look at the birth rate, if you go look at the age demographics of the population, it kind of looks like a big tree. It kind of looks like
A lot of older people.
right,
Not a lot of young people.
And then it goes this. You know what I mean? It's one of these situations where like this is the older, this top part is the older amount of folks. This part is the younger amount of folks. There's not a lot of youngins.
Who's gonna listen to the music?
That's not even about that. Who's gonna debut?
Oh, that's
know what I mean?
true.
Yeah, see, this is one of the reasons we're starting to get 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds in these groups.
Bro,
That's so sad.
my nephew's debuting in 14 years, guys. Just let
Dude, let's go. Let's do it.
He's really tall. He's like 90th percentile height, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
But he has a 95th percentile head, so his face might be too big. Just letting
That's
you know.
okay. That's
Okay.
alright.
Well, it's good for him because he doesn't have a lot of competition anymore. Look at this
True,
age
that's
group.
true.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So maybe that's a reaction to that, you know? And that's
That
also a
could be,
reason
yeah.
people have been pointing to as like why do all the boy groups suck? And some people have been saying, well, there's not enough people to debut. Because makes sense.
That's a crap argument. There were a lot of dudes on Boys Planet who wanted to debut, you know?
yeah,
But it was mixed. It wasn't all Korean. It was Japanese,
true.
Chinese, it was Thai. It was from all over, right?
well, here's the thing. If we have scarcity with boys, we should also have a scarcity with girls.
Yeah.
Well, Girls Planet also happened.
Right, okay. Anyways,
I don't think we're not in Generation 5. I think you're bugging if you think.
Yeah.
no.
I think we might be transitioning, but I don't think there's been a definitive like, oh yes, we're in it. We're
Who
in the
knows?
middle.
This current crop of girl groups just might like reign for another 3 years straight. You know?
yeah.
Like, this
Maybe.
Because NMIX has room to grow. This Baby Monsters is going to be big, obviously.
Yeah.
Triple S, who knows what's going to happen there, right? 50/50 might become a top tier group in 2 songs, right?
Dang, it could happen, yeah.
Who knows?
And then groups like aespa, IVE, G-Idol, they've already established that they're top tier at the moment. From Us 9 still might be on the way up. ITZY might correct the ship, right? And there are some boy groups here who might also correct the ship. So we might just have the current crop of people sticking around for a while, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Tempest might pop off, you know? Exterior Heroes, Treasure, Hype and
And if
TXT, yeah.
if you think about all the trends that make Generation 4 unique, I don't feel like it's gonna go away soon. Like, we just finished migrating to Weverse for a lot of these groups. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
Weverse it's gonna be around for a while. We're done with Universe. We're done with all these, stupid other platforms.
Separate.
We're done with the false
Platforms,
kings.
yeah.
We're at the true
Right.
king. One true king.
Another thing is, like, I've noticed people have been saying, like, oh, now that we're doing easy listening pop, that's what separates Generation 5 from Generation 4. And that might, I see where they're coming from, but on the other hand, like, easy listening pop could be a fad. It could be a dead trend in the next
It's like
4
how everyone
months.
was copying The Weeknd 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Would you consider that a
new
generational
disco
trend, right?
thing,
So
yeah.
that you can't
Yeah.
do that.
A lot of what we call easy listening pop at the end of the day is really just not doing some of the extreme things that K-pop was doing.
Well,
to be honest with you.
Another thing, people thought Gen 4 was gonna like end or be defined by people entering the metaverse. You know, you remember like
God.
Not yet.
2 years
We're
ago.
not there yet.
Even 2
Oh,
years ago,
God.
we thought like, oh, NFTs, Aespa and Kwangya, this is it, guys.
We're not in Kwangya
We're
anymore.
all gonna be watching concerts on our VR sets all the time, right? That's what everyone thought, and it just no one cares, really. Like,
It
have you
has
seen-
really
have you-
gone down.
have
yeah.
you seen what Facebook's been trying to do with Meta? It ain't too hot, you know, like not too good.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see groups that are trying to like utilize it more. Like, what's their name? Triple S has that whole NFT.
That's
Oh.
the bar to entry to that is too high, I think.
One
Well, that's
one
the-
thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
No, I'm gonna change topic. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's the whole trend that's been happening since like Generation 3, right? As we've been shifting away from general public, and nowadays the groups that are like fandom focused are like very fandom oriented, especially with a lot of the boy groups.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that shift a little bit with Gen 5. You know what I mean? Like,
Predict
it's
what
never
the
a good idea.
I
It's
predicted
limited.
what the shift is. I thought the boy groups rise from the dead, right? I thought
Right.
that particularly the SM thing will signify what's gonna happen.
Uh-huh.
Anita, do you have any guess when Gen 5? You can make a wild prediction about what's gonna happen. To really
Well,
define.
okay. Let me see. My thoughts went to technology again, right? Because I think we brought up the metaverse and all that. Something that it seems like is starting. I don't know if this will be a definitive shift. Is AI, right? Like we've seen some stuff.
Okay.
Right? Like,
okay.
We started with some hype stuff with the top of this episode too, and I've also seen like it's been more than one now. A lot of like the VTuber type of groups, right? Where it's a voice, right? But the full person, right, is completely computer generated, right? That's something that I feel like I see more nowadays, and I feel like the general response has been positive, right? Like we talked about Fevers, is that what they're called? From that survival show. Maeve, I believe is her name,
Yep,
that I can name on the top of my head. There's also a boy group that I've seen on TikTok quite a bit. I can't think of their name.
There's that singer that I listened to, that Rosie girl.
Right. So I feel like here and there I hear more about this, and it's becoming like nothing very surprising anymore. So I don't know if this will be like common occurrence to have like a completely computer generated
That'd be
visual
kinda
group.
wild, though. It'd be so
Right?
wild.
I don't know if that's a shift, but I think like the involvement of AI, of like computer generated images and like personas will be maybe more commonly used. I don't know. Maybe if like a really big group of this hits, like becomes super popular, that's when it's the shift. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm a little less sold on the virtual folks, the virtual AI people
Right.
characters.
Yeah, it's a
Like
little harder
Maeve.
to imagine.
But with AI, this is more of like our world in general than K-pop, but I feel like we live in a gray area right now where we're gonna see another industrial revolution almost. I'm not the only one saying this. I'm also not saying
The next
I'm also-
industrial revolution.
I mean, I feel like it's gonna happen. You know what
It's
I mean?
gonna
Like,
happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
it's the point of takeoff, or like we're nearing the point of takeoff, where like these tools.
AI,
They're gonna start-
self-driving cars, instead of maybe VR,
Yeah.
it's AR. I think will become more prevalent. That's my guess.
Same. AI, generative AI is really, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna replace jobs per se, but it's really gonna be the tools that really drive the next
Change. Yeah.
change for the next who knows how many long decades. I really, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like my life in 7 years is going to be very different from now. I'm not trying to be very hopeful. I'm not trying to be pessimistic or optimistic. I just think it'll be different. The phones, these phones, I feel like they're going to be doing different things, is what I'm saying. And because of that, K-pop's also going to change.
Yeah.
The
Technology.
stuff Maeve is doing, the stuff that Rosie is doing, I'll be honest, I think it's a fad. I think it's going to go away in like 2-3 years. but stuff like Midnight,
That's what I'm thinking.
Audio wise.
Big Brain.
production.
Imagine if we have, instead of having AI singers, we have AI written songs that are perfectly tailored for people to like them, using big data.
That's scary. That's scary.
It's a little scary.
That's what
Yeah.
they're starting to do with even the Rosie thing. They generated a voice so that it was most pleasing to most people.
That's true.
He's common denominator.
Well, right now we're not at a point in the future where we're able to craft complete songs with just AI, but I don't think it's gonna take too long.
Here's a bold guess. In the next 10 years, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have some kind of artist that's gonna come out and they're gonna act like it's a real person, and the scandal is going to be down the line that this person doesn't exist.
No, I can see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
like,
can
no,
see that.
we're just a secretive company. We don't make any public appearances, right?
That's possible.
And then at a
now,
certain
yeah.
point, people are gonna be like, no, I work for this company. I'm breaking my NDA. It's not a real person.
It's all a hoax.
Oh,
Oh,
because we
that's
made
scary.
this to keep overhead super low.
And this is, we're talking about the broad creative field here, and this is kind of why I appreciate what the Writers Guild is doing. They're one of the reasons they're on strike right now. For those of you
right.
who
AI
don't know,
protection, right? Yeah.
right, the American Writers Guild is doing a complete strike right now. A lot of your favorite shows and dramas, films are on pause because of that. And one of the things they're striking for is protection against AI writing tools, because one of the AI tools that we are seeing being focused on a lot right now is stuff like ChatGPT that will just spit out text. That's gonna happen to music soon, and we need a way. I personally see a need for us to pause and say, okay, how are you going to protect the rights of songwriters, personalities, performers,
Producers, yeah.
right? All of these people who put in a lot of creative effort into creating these things, because at the end of the day, I think what makes art relatable and discussable is the fact that people made them. If you think about right, if you think about the G-Idol conversation we had earlier, a lot of the conversation was hinged on the fact that G-Idol have a lot of followers on Instagram, right? You know what I mean?
It was also our conversation was also hinged that there's a human element and they didn't speak English perfect or things like that.
Right. Like imperfections, perfections, stuff that makes up the artist unique, their narratives, their background, where they came from, like Soyeon's pre-debut narrative, like stuff like that. Once you throw that out the window, it just becomes kind of boring. You can't really listen to a song in a vacuum without any context.
We're pretty close though. I saw something where they were generating voice lines for World of Warcraft the game live via AI. They were generating voices for all the NPCs that don't have voiced characters.
Oh wow.
And it's kind of scary because it was like 90 something% accurate with the correct intonation too.
Oh.
Isn't that creepy? It's so creepy.
See, this is the singularity.
Where
If you know what I mean.
are
If this
we?
is how time flies, it's gonna go faster and faster and faster.
The real
It's gonna be
question
difficult
is,
to
should
follow.
I invest in AI companies right now? I've already missed the boat. That's the real question. Or should I short it because it's gonna fail like crypto, or not like crypto, like NFTs? That's the question. $1 million
know. I
question,
mean,
right? It's the $1 million
up to
question.
you, Doug. Up to you, Doug. And you're
Because my one of my regrets is I heard about crypto. But when I first heard about crypto, if I had invested, I'd be a multi-millionaire. Like I heard about it back then, but I didn't act. So that's another thing.
But you
That's a lot
gotta
of
sell at the
people.
right time
Yeah.
too.
Anyways, AI. I think it's also going to be a big part of Gen 5.
So so I guess my opinion was it's probably going to be when some kind of significant event happens, being like a group or something like that. Whereas Warren to think it's more going to be heavily based on a new technological trend that's going to.
Or it doesn't have to be a technological trend, right? It could also be a shift in the way the industry works.
I thought maybe they were going to have an unparalleled amount of cooperation between companies that we've never seen.
We've seen that a bit now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meaning that maybe two smaller companies, they say, let's get 3 other companies and do a world tour with like 5 artists instead of just us.
So-
Book bigger
so-
venues.
Less boundaries between companies then.
That might be the shift.
more of a cohort.
It
Oh.
could happen. That's potentially.
I would personally, this is more of a wish list than one of the predictions, but I would like to see K-pop shift a little more towards general public with Gen 5, especially with the boy groups. Because in order for successful or talented talents to come into the industry, we also need a lot of eyes on it. We need a lot of investment. We need a lot of people interested. That's happening with girl groups, not very much with boy groups. And I'm sure there were a lot of talented kids on Boys Planet, but we need more than 50 kids that are talented in the industry.
Outside of like maybe the high boy groups or like 17 and then like Stray Kids, it's not too hot right now, right? We need more people to hit home with the general population.
What drives me absolutely nuts sometimes is that people know IVE, they know New Jeans, they know aespa, they know Novice, but they don't know NCT. They don't know 17. You know what I mean? Like that's what drives me nuts. It's there are talented people that produce good music, but there's for some reason the marketing isn't working, or they're not even marketing themselves to general public. Yeah, there's a big disconnect, and it's working right now. Yes. But
it won't last forever.
Right. It won't last forever. In order for an industry to continue being successful, you need fresh new eyes on it. And are the Generation Alpha kids, are they listening to MC&D, for instance? How many? You know what I mean? That's if I look at a lot of the younger boy groups and see who are buying their albums, it's a lot of older folks.
It's the loyal fans.
The loyal fans who have been like doing boy group to boy group to boy group ever since they were in their early 20s. Yes, I'm saying they're not in their early 20s. There are people are like, you know what I mean? Like, they're somehow groups that are very young, you know, older fans. There's a bit of an imbalance here. And I'm not saying if you're 40 years old, of course you can like K-pop groups. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just,
but you need to keep the interest of the general public as it becomes new, right?
Right. We need a much more diverse, set of interests. The counter argument to this has always been anime, because anime suffered the same issue in Japan, where like for a while, if you look at 90s anime, or 80s, it was definitely general public focused, but then they started doing the crap that weebs like, and then it like the general public wasn't watching K-On! You know what I mean? But that didn't kill the industry. You know, Western fans liked it. I liked it. So that globalization.
That's kind of what's happening now, isn't it? Like the Western fandom is supporting a lot of the groups that might not succeed solely on a Korean market.
Right. And that's why I would like to see how these not Korean K-pop groups look like. We have a couple examples right now. OK-pop, XG. That being said, I've never listened to OK-pop. I hope they're making music. I'm not just pulling out of my ass. But I don't know. Is NCT Hollywood still happening? I have no clue. I'm interested.
It might be one of those ones in that list that we saw today.
Yeah.
Two groups. I would assume it is, to be honest.
One of the two new debuts.
If not NCT Hollywood, some kind of SM adventure in the West is what I would say. All right. I think we've answered this to a certain extent. Please let us know what you guys think. Are we in Gen 5? If not, what would delineate that we would potentially be in Gen 5 in the future? And then let us know what you think about tier lists in general. Not really like, don't nitpick where we place people per se, but more like general ideas about tier lists in general, please. Okay.
Or generation list,
or
right?
The grouping.
Wait, what did I say? What did I say wrong?
You said tier lists.
Oh, not tier lists, generations. Yeah, generation lists. Not really.
Doug, are you calling Hybe S tier and JYP A tier? And
no,
is that what you're telling me?
I mean, these days, I want
to be very clear. These are alphabetical. Just putting that out there. Hybe, JYP, SMYG. That's alphabetical. Just putting that out there.
Okay. All right. So that kind of wraps up episode 236. We'll see you guys next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.